Did you know that anti-blackness is actually an indicator for the demonization of pit bulls? Hi, I'm Abiola Goro, and this is DSR in a minute or less. Recently, and in general, we've seen more conversations about how people's dogs in certain communities have been more likely to be attacked by police or are or aren't appreciated. But the racialization of dogs is actually a huge part of this and something that we don't talk about enough. There have been multiple studies done, one of which was very notable, that showed that people that typically have a heavy level of anti-blackness, being anti-black, disliking black people, blackness, all of those things, are more likely to dislike pit bulls. This is not something that is a drastic conclusion because of the fact that pit bulls are a very racialized dog. Before the 1980s in World War I or World War II, pit bulls were considered to be all American dogs. They were lauded, they were loved. Pickles, stop it. Stop it. Sorry, y'all. She's eating this plant she's not supposed to be eating. Pit bulls were loved and they were appreciated. Don't do that. And they were considered to be American heroes. Some of the first dogs that we have going into World War I or World War II were pit bulls. They were on posters, on flyers. They were considered to be an American dog, being bred originally to be able to consistently help with not only being strong, but also being able to help herd animals and keep farms safe. So what happened? Well, later on, towards the 1970s and 1980s, dog fighting became popular again. And pit bulls were a very clear choice for a lot of people who wanted to win. They wanted a strong, well-statured dog that they could use to win. And as dog fighting rings grew, the demonization of these dogs also developed and rose in the media. This is also because of the fact that dog fighting rings were thought to be linked to intercity communities, which is a code word for black and brown communities. You can see this now as even when you try and look up dog fighting rings from the 1980s, a lot of the time you will see them stating that the dogfighting rings were heavily associated with these communities, even though part of that has already been proven to be untrue. Anyways, I digress. So while you have all of these things happening, you have people then becoming afraid of pit bulls. On top of this, you also have a really problematic breeding that's going on in the 70s and 80s of pit bulls, creating some that do have slightly more issues. And you're seeing an overwhelming amount of pit bulls going into shelters because they were considered to be aggressive because they had been forced to dog fight. Other dogs were also increasing at this time when it came to aggressiveness, but that typically isn't talked about. So because of this, while black homeowners decided to move into more suburban areas in the 80s and the 90s, they saw pit bulls as a great opportunity for a dog that would protect them, a great dog that was loyal, a great dog that, quite frankly, hadn't been appreciated and had been disregarded and discarded by America. With this happening then became the association of people saying that pit bulls and black folks were basically synonymous. And while they may not say this with their words, the studies have shown how linked these ideas are. You can literally use pit bulls as a predictor for racist attitudes and values. And this is really important because when we talk about something that's called the black man's dog, the black person's dog, we have to talk about the fact that even an animal like a dog that is typically thought to be safe and respected and loved by communities that may be racist can be racialized and discarded and thrown to the side. We'll talk more about this later. Drop any questions you have below. I'm Abiola Goro. None of the dogs decided to get in this video, so sorry, but you'll see them next time. Mwah. Bye!